Hi, my name is Dustin Miles. I'm with Momentum Multifamily. I'm super excited to have Michael here today from Nashville. And Michael, I'll let you introduce yourself and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Dustin. Yeah, I live here in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm just a syndicator on the asset management side. We've got three properties all in the North Carolina, so one in Durham and then two in Jacksonville, North Carolina, which is about 45 minutes north of Wilmington. Camp Lejeune, so it's a big military town there. Doing value add across all three of those assets.
Okay, awesome. Well, cool. And what are just to, I guess, kind of how, I guess, kind of backing up a few steps, would love to know, about your background. Like, how did you get from, because we have a lot of people that they're like, gosh, I'd really love to get into, asset management or capital raising or, just like for other people just to understand, like,
Yeah.
what steps did you take to kind of get to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always had this belief of these large institutions own these properties. People like you and me just we don't own them. That really
Hmm.
shifted when I got a job looking for a real estate developer who developed LIHTC, low income tax credit housing properties out in Idaho. Worked for him doing IT work and doing some digital marketing for him. About 4.5 years ago, my wife and I moved to Nashville, and that's when I'm like, I want to figure out how to get into this. And with that, I joined a mastermind here in Nashville with Chad King and Jason Urisi, just to like
Okay.
get involved. Like, how can I really get started in this? And for that first year, it was just underwriting deals and acquisitions, trying for other groups, which now that I do asset management every day, like I really had no business underwriting anything because you
Yeah.
learn
Yeah.
like there's the theoretical side, but then there's the actual doing it. Um, and with that mastermind, I've met some other operators who were looking to bring in some more partners because they were doing a very large rehab project, and I had
Hmm.
project management experience. Another proper partner had construction experience, so they kind of brought us on to handle this, getting these units turned. And then within that, we started taking on more of the asset management duties slowly. And then as they started acquiring more assets, we started taking over the due diligence process, and now we're really hands-on the asset management piece, and they're, on the acquisitions capital raising side, where two of us do the asset management now on the day-to-day.
Nice. Cool. And is this a full-time activity for you, or do you have a job, a 9 to 5 as well, or?
This is a full-time activity for me. So my wife works kind of like that's our what we're living on. The investing side's more like our nest egg, or one of our nest eggs, I should say.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome. And then I guess kind of going back to your background, because you said it sounded like you're used to project management and that's something maybe you'd done in the past.
Yep.
Is that yeah, what that kind of look like?
Yeah, so I did IT work for a property manager company. So it was really
Oh,
like I think the
okay.
big project there was like they had to they had to update their entire a lot of their technology across 50 properties. So it was really just going through and just
Oh, wow.
updating each property, computers, whatever, they needed. And
Mm-hmm.
we updated from old versions of Microsoft to now like getting them on Teams. That was the big push
Oh,
there.
wow.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
definitely I saw the inside working of a management company developer. So like just being in that inside, you could see high level how things worked.
Gotcha. Okay. Nice. And as far as, so you're in Nashville, the properties, I think you said are both in the Carolinas, or were
North
they
Carolina, yep.
all three in North Carolina? Okay. Is how does that I guess what are you guys doing to keep tabs? Obviously it sounds like do you guys, is there a third party management company or are you guys manage in house?
We have a third party management company, meet with them weekly.
Okay.
So we meet with them every Thursday. So kind of a set meeting, just kind of go over the project, the property. And then I guess I'll back up. On Mondays, we get like a weekly report of like, here's all the leasing activity, here's all the evictions, here's collections, like here's where we're at from last week. And then we meet on Wednesday, Thursday to follow up with them on any outstanding projects. And then my business partner and I visit the properties a couple times a quarter, um, just to see how they're looking, meet with vendors, meet with contractors, meet with the staff to address any issues we need to address. I mean, That is probably the biggest challenge, not being so close.
Yep.
But
Yep.
luckily, Nashville, North Carolina, it's a 90-minute flight, so we can get there relatively quick.
Okay. Gotcha. And I guess what just in terms of kind of keeping because I feel like the asset management, we do asset management as well. We work with third party. And so anything that you guys are kind of doing just to so you're meeting with them, on Thursdays, then you get kind of your weekly reports, any things you guys, I guess guardrails that you try to have implemented, or things that you kind of look for in some of those reports to make sure that things are kind of going as planned.
Yeah, I think the big thing we're looking at right now is because we're in leasing season, so we're looking at leads, our conversion rates from, is a lead converting to a tour to an application to an approved application. And I think really are those approved applications, are they actually moving in? Because
Hmm.
if people are going through all these steps and they're not moving in, then we've got why, or whatever the issue is in that
Something, yeah,
funnel.
something, yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Um, yeah, it's interesting. We've had it, we've had, everybody, if you have an apartment, you've had a leasing problem probably at some point.
Yep.
And I know for us, we were like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I mean, the property itself, just driving up, it looks really nice. And so anyways, we audited just the tour path, and then
Hmm.
and then obviously making, if you have a model, making sure the model looks good, or if you're going to a unit, make sure obviously that looks good. But yeah, we just saw some things with the model where we're like, this is not good and this is not acceptable.
Yep.
And no wonder people aren't, as soon as they see that, I'd be like, this is a nice place, but something's missing. So
Yep.
anyways, those are, something that we've done. And we don't, it's not something you probably have to do, super often, but I don't know if it's a once a year activity or once every 6 months, but I think it's good to, that's something that we've kind of done and seen most of the time, not an issue, because I think it's, if you're a manager and you actually walk the property, then, and walks in the units and walk the model, then it should be kind of common sense. But and that's another thing, if we're seeing that people aren't walking the property, and we want them to, then that's another issue too. um
Right.
is there are you guys doing at any of those properties? Are you doing a remodel? Is there CapEx being injected? Or do you guys kind of buy more, were there some other, or I guess what value add, levers are you guys kind of pulling at each of those properties?
Yeah. Yeah. So two properties were going and rehabbing the units, which we've done most of the work on those two assets in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So right now it's just making sure the turn time, just from a typical move out, flooring, paint if needed, simple maintenance things, those can happen relatively quickly. Um, our Durham property, we've completed all but I think a few units, but that unit, that property really changed our business model during due diligence. There was a lot more the value add already done. That property has this polybutylene or polypipe, which someone correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding it was installed in properties like late 70s to like the mid 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And the poly is it works until it doesn't, and it can cause starts popping and it'll start flooding
Oh.
units. And
Oh,
so
wow. Jeez.
yeah, during our due diligence walk, we were noticing all these like patchwork in the ceilings, and so we identified that, oh, they are having this issue because this property had this poly pipe. And
Oh,
so like
wow.
our business plan really changed from just going and doing a value add there to like, let's get this at a discount and then let's mitigate this risk for the next
Yeah.
person.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I know. I can't remember exactly the name of the pipe, but there's one. Um, I don't know. It's a little more I can't remember. There's one in the southeast that's a little more prevalent. I think that might be what you're referring to. And then there's one, at least that's been used in Texas, that's it works fine, but it is brittle. And
Yep.
so if you have if you have foundation movement or if you are doing a rehab and you're moving plumbing at all, the chances of it breaking or cracking are pretty high. So yeah, that's where obviously due diligence comes in very handy there. um were you guys so when you did due diligence and you kind of found that what were you guys I guess did the seller know they had that? And I assume they did. And then were they what did that look like as far as were you guys able to get a price adjustment, or what did that kind of look like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean the seller was well aware of it. They obviously didn't disclose that to us, but yeah, we were able to go back and renegotiate our offer and
Oh,
get
good.
to a price that worked for them and us because whether it was us or the next group come in, they were probably gonna have the
Right.
same issue. Somebody was gonna have to pay for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, unless they were a pretty unsophisticated group and
Yeah,
just, like, oh, okay, it looks fine.
yeah, because I think
Um,
the thing is everyone talks about the cast iron, but this poly was like fairly new to us, and like there's a lot of operators who just, I mean, it's a rare, but it's out there.
yeah, yeah. Um, got it. Yeah. I'll have to try to look up. I can't remember the different types of PVC. Anyways,
Yeah,
um, so you guys, have you mitigated that pretty much to date, or is that still in
yeah.
process? Or okay.
No, we've done most of it. We've still got a few units left that are occupied. What we did was is we essentially took a vacant unit, furnished it, and then we would just move residents in and out as we needed to get into their units because we were trying to get ahead of this issue before it caused any more havoc to our current residents. So we did most of the property within about 12 months, 122 units.
Oh, nice. Okay, gotcha. And I guess as far as the management company that you guys use, do you use the same one across all three assets?
Yeah, yeah, we
Okay.
do. We had we debated as a group, is that the way we want to go, or do we want to kind of separate the markets with two different management companies in case we have a good experience with one and not the other? Um, we ultimately decided to go with just one. It's made things a lot easier. We've got a good relationship, so I think as of right now, it's been a good decision.
Yeah,
But we did
gotcha.
have that debate.
Okay. Awesome. And then I guess just kind of hitting more on the asset management side. Just what is your so you guys you get your reports on Thursday. I'm sorry, you meet with them Thursdays. You get your reports Mondays. Any other I guess I don't know if you guys are starting to dabble with AI, or if there's any processes that you're kind of helping to just make things more efficient on your end, or analyzing the P&L, or yeah, I would love to know what you guys are kind of looking at as far as integrating AI.
Yeah, so definitely using AI. So I use the weekly reports. I have like a AI uh, dashboard that I built. So I use that and
Oh,
put it in
cool.
there, and then I'll start asking the questions. Kind of the two things I always ask it is, what are some key highlights from the week, and then what are some questions I should ask my manager because sometimes it'll
Mm,
catch things that I don't think about or I may
yeah.
have missed, or it gives me like a good starting point of things to go look at, and some things I can log into our management software and just answer myself, or there's like I need to figure out why this or that is the big piece. I I've been reluctant to give AI too much data because I'm just concerned about it using it in other
Privacy.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah, privacy. So
Mhm.
um, that's where I primarily use it is in those weekly reports. I think as I get, we'll see how things go, but I think start using it more to analyze financials and other reports, I think will be good. I also use AI for like our marketing. Just to like kind of review our websites, review our marketing to see what's out there. I use AI. I think another two other ways I'm using. I use Claude.
Mhm.
Um, I have it. I have it do rent comps, and two things with rent comps is I'm not sure what your experience is with this, but I give it the properties I want it to analyze, not just here's my address and find comps because it will find some weird ones or ones that I've got a B class and it's giving me comps of all A classes, or things that aren't right. And then the other thing I've had issues with Claude is sometimes the rents aren't accurate, so I have to go back through and like just double check. But it's
Mm.
usually it builds out a good spreadsheet, it builds out a good report that I can just go in and tweak it as needed to kind of review
Okay.
our rents. And then I
Yeah.
also use it. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I don't think I've used Claude for rent comps at all. We look at, well, we look at RealPage, and then we
Yeah.
also have our probably, I don't, it depends. Usually once a month or so, we'll have our manager kind of re-up the marketing survey just to see what's going on. So anyways, sorry to interrupt.
No, no, you're right. Our managers do the same. Maybe I'm just a little more hands-on. I like to do just to double check to see if there's anything that maybe they have missed, or maybe we're making sure we're
Hmm.
keeping on top of things, just as an extra set of
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other piece, I just use it for like news for the local market. Like what is happening, like political wise, what's happening in the market, business wise. I can kind of like skim the news, and I can just quickly just read summaries, and then if I want to know more, I just can go into those news articles.
That's smart. There's just so much information that it's a great tool for helping to kind of whittle down to what you actually need. So
Yeah.
yeah, we one thing that we do, just so we have our manager meetings, and we have Otter that records everything, and then we
Yep.
usually take a transcript of that and throw it into chat GPT or Claude. And then so whenever I'm doing my investor updates, I'll just ask for, hey, give me updates for the last few weeks. And most of the stuff I remember, but to your point, a few minutes ago, like I'm not going to remember everything. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. So
Yeah.
it helps, yeah, quite a bit. And then yeah, so anyways, that's one thing that we're doing. And we're using Claude for our, we do so we send out our financials, then we kind of put a blurb, but we also do
Yep.
a kind of a investor report that's a little more that it's high level ish, but a little more detailed than just like our email. Like if they're wanting to dig into numbers and all that, then we've kind of got that in addition to the financials, which you can read and then fall asleep if you want. So
Right.
uh so what management software does your management company use?
They use Resman, which we had switched management companies. That was using Yardi, so going to Resman, we just knowing nothing about Resman, I think we were a little hesitant, but I've actually, now that I've learned it, it's actually, I like it a lot better than Yardi, I think, for a couple of
Oh,
different
okay.
reasons.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if it was the previous management company, if Yardi didn't track this, but like one thing I would really like to do is I like to track like our expenses per unit, especially on turns.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Resman does a very like, as long as if the manager does put it in correctly, like Resman reports that very cleanly, so we can see like, okay,
Okay.
we spent X amount on this turn. Why was this one so much more or less than these other ones? So we can keep an average.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, that's cool. One thing that we're doing right now, because I was just talking about, we have an asset manager that her whole focus kind of, it sounds like, probably what we do. And so her whole focus is asset management. And so anyway, she is right now, so she's been shopping some of our comps just to see, especially because we have well, today she's at a property that's doing well, we're like 95% and all that. But she's still kind of looking at comps. We had another deal that just dipped below 90 a little bit, and so she was trying to see, like, okay, who are we losing our traffic to. And so she went there, and so she's like, well, it's hard because our property has really large units. Like, you can almost fit, their units are like 600 square feet for one bedrooms, ours are 1,000.
Oh
And
wow.
and they kind of, whenever I've gone to shop that particular comp, they've kind of kid around that, Yeah, we're our units are about as big as your closets. So and so anyways, that property was very, very clean. It is brand new, so that, maybe that helps a little bit too. But anyways, but they're also doing away with a lot of their specials that they've had. And so that should help kind of drive more traffic, our way, hopefully. So
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, those concessions, I feel like sometimes it's a race to the bottom, especially with some comps around us.
yeah.
It's like, well, you're a month and then we're a month and then now you're 6 weeks. Do we go to 6 weeks? Like, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's a
it's
struggle
it's
sometimes.
yeah, it's tough, and we've seen we were kind of hoping that honestly by now all the concessions would be going away, but they're not. It depends on the property. Some were peeling back quite a bit to where we don't really have a whole lot, but others were, we're still at, 4 6 weeks. I think we may have it's not across the board 8 weeks, but we do have a few units that are tougher to move, and so we have a few of
Hmm.
those at 8 weeks too right now. So, but then I've seen, some, we have, I think, one or two where we don't really have anything really, and
Yeah.
we're in a good spot. So, yeah, just depends. Are there any, I know you're looking real closely at traffic numbers. Are there any, I guess, for, retention? Are there, so for keeping people in the property and all that, are there any kind of metrics that you guys kind of watch for or look for?
Yeah, we I look at our renewal rate every month to see kind of how many people are renewing. Kind of I think it's a good site. I was at our property a few weeks ago, and I think residents have a really good insight on what's going on. So I always talk to residents, and so I think, you know,
That's smart.
our team is so focused on leasing right now. I think they've kind of forgotten to take care of the current residents. So that was a good
Yeah.
reminder, like, hey
Yeah.
guys, we gotta. I know you guys are working hard on getting these units turned and getting filled, but we also got to make sure we're keeping current residents happy. We done it in the past, and we haven't done it this year, but we've done resident surveys, and I'd highly recommend just we build them, and then the management just sends them out, so we those results come straight to us. That's we find highly good feedback in that
Mm,
because sometimes your on-site teams will tell you one story, and then a resident will tell you something completely different, or they'll tell you
yeah.
something that
Yeah.
no one's ever talked about. Like, you know why isn't the dog poop getting picked up? Residents are
Right.
complaining about it.
Yeah.
We got to make sure it's getting done, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing we kind of watch for in particular is, I don't know Resman very well, but the we look for at our maintenance summary. So the maintenance summary is, just for the people on listening to this podcast, maintenance summary is somebody puts in a work order, and it's basically how quickly are you closing out that work order. Our goal is 2 days or less. Obviously, lower is better, but in our mind, there's very few reasons. Like, no one wants to move. Like, let's just put that out there. And
Yeah.
so, as long as you're fairly priced, you actually, you take care of the property and fix anything that comes up, and as long as there's, no, I guess, potential safety issues, or maybe, maybe they just get upset about the dog poop or whatever. But I mean, other than, some of those, knick-knacky things, I mean, they shouldn't want to move, because no one
Right.
likes to move. So I've
Yeah.
I, I've never met, unless I've not asked any movers if they like to move. I bet they don't like to move either. But
Yeah, no, I guess I do look at the weekly. I do look at those maintenance summaries as well, just to see kind of where, and that's one of those things on those weekly reports I'm looking at. Like, okay, how many came in last week? How many close out? But our goal is the same. 2 days, or yeah, 2 days is kind of our goal. If it's an emergency,
Mhm.
it needs to be quicker. But
Yeah, yeah. Are you guys having to do any sort of concessions on renewals or anything like that right now?
not on renewals. One property, we're just not doing any increases. We're just renewing as is. Just we're kind of some not issues, but just concerned with occupancy. So we're just wanting to keep people there as much as we can. Um, we've given our staff or our on-site teams like hey, here's a list of incentives we approved, like go ahead and use them. So they use them as needed, that could be Uber gift cards, looking to do if they want to do like smart thermostat, just some different options, if they've lived there a while, if
Yeah.
they need a new appliance package, like we're willing to work with people if you think you needed to convert them.
Yeah. 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 Gotcha. Well, cool. I guess any just kind of as we kind of start to wrap up a little bit, any words of wisdom for, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the people are listen to these episodes. A lot of them are newer. They're trying to understand how to break into multifamily. How do I be on the GP side, kind of be an owner and all that. So yeah, any advice for those folks?
Yeah, I think what worked well for me, I think everyone has their own entrance into this. I think just finding different groups wherever you're at and just joining them. I think there's different real estate meetups, different groups. I think just start going to those things and meeting people. I think is probably your biggest thing to start building those relationships.
Yeah. And that's a great segue into, so you guys have a meetup coming up here pretty soon, right?
Yeah, so my business partner and I host a quarterly meetup for multifamily operators and investors. So we're doing our next meetup Thursday, July 16 here in Nashville. We're doing an asset management panel. So it'd be us two, and we've got a couple other operators here in the Nashville market. His name's Eddie Austin, Mike Taravelli, and Jason Urisi. Like, if you can't make it, follow them on LinkedIn. They're very resourceful on LinkedIn. But if you can make it, we'd love to have you. You can go to commacreators.com and register there if you'd like.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds great. And how do people get in touch with you? Maybe it's the website you just gave, but any how do people get in touch with you and just to
Yeah.
connect or collaborate or whatever?
Yeah, definitely love to connect with anyone who has asset management due diligence questions. That's really what we focus on. You can connect me at my website, trinitymountaincapital.com, or connect with me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, really appreciate your time, Michael. And please reach out to Michael. Super nice guy, friendly guy. Especially, if you're in the Carolinas or you're in the Nashville area. Great resource, and he's very well networked. And so yeah, just appreciate your time, Michael, and look forward to meeting you in person sometime soon. So,
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dustin.
all right, thanks. Take care. See ya. Bye.